are watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman, exclusively on ABC Amber TV.
Mutumbu, mama yo, na ya boy go get down. Blue Jay Brothers. Mama you kind, mama you're beautiful, mama you good, mama you're wonderful. No woman like you, mama. No woman like you, mama. Thank God for you, mama. Thank God for you, mama. 'Cause you gave me life, oh mama. Queen of my life, oh mama. I go love you for life, oh mama. 'Cause you love me so, oh mama. From small begin, I never forget all the suffer when you suffer for me. Oh yeah, yeah. All the pain and the troubles where I put you through. I remember when money no be there and chop no be there for her. You be the try your best. You go run around to find us something where we go chop. When I dey sick, you know the sleep. You go the cry all night. You go hold me tight, start to pray, say God make you help my oh Lord. Ooh, I wo ye ye choma. Afunga na bere ye funga choma. Ambama na bere ye ambama choma. Enga na chinu ye ga choma. Mama, I wo ye ye choma. Afunga na bere ye funga choma. Ambama na bere ye ambama choma. Enga na chinu ye ga choma. Ye ga choma, mama. Enga na chinu ye ga choma. Chinu ye ga choma.
Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonia women. Today, I am hosting the show and I'm hosting Ma Patience. So, we are going to be looking at the struggle, the revolution, the patriotic call for fighting for our restoration. All Ambazonians have been called and is present in this lifetime for a purpose. And we're going to be reminding ourselves for this 2023 the mindset we need to keep on and keep up to ensure we restore our freedom, we restore our territory that has been stolen from us for over 60 years. I would like now to invite my Patience, Secretary of State for Women's Services, to join me. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, while we're waiting for my patients to join, we'll also be talking about negotiations, we're talking about pre-talks, um, diplomatic moves and efforts by various Ambazonians in the diaspora. I will also talk about La Republic sponsor talks and comparing it to um, what is actually necessary and what Ambazonia actually need in terms of negotiation and pre-talks or diplomatic moves. And finally, thank you, Mafishin, for joining. And finally, would also, look at unity. Unity, collaboration. It's been so much talk around it, so much noise as well around this. So, Mafishin, thanks for joining. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lady Casey. Thank you. And I want to start by saying Happy New Year. I think this is our first show of the year of acceleration, as our president said in his address to the nation. I extend greetings to everyone watching us on the horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman, particularly those in the home front, those in ground one, and everyone all over the diaspora. I hope as we continue on our show, even our enemies will watch us because they will learn something that will make them understand why we are staying the course, why we are fighting to have our 50th nation of Africa recognized. Thank you. Happy New Year, Lady Casey.
Thank you and happy new year to you too and to all Amazonians. And can I just say, fellow viewers, it wasn't planned. We are matching hairstyle and all dress. It was not planned, and we are just in the spirit.
That's
you know,
that's
uh, that's so interesting that we show up unplanned and all matched up. So we'll crack on with it. We'll get right into it. I'd like the technicians to bring my patients back into the show. So we get on with the conversations and discussion and inspiration, enlightenment for today. The women as their motto is staying the course. The Ambazonia women are staying the course. So when we want to encourage every Ambazonian to have that mindset that we are staying the course no matter what, no matter the distraction, no matter the obstacles, no matter the challenges, we are staying the course. We are here for a purpose. Our main goal is the total liberation of Ambazonia, the territory, and the people. And we are staying the course until that is achieved. So join us on this train while we carry on. And my patients, before we just quickly also join, I want to tell our viewers that be ready to call in and participate. A number will be put on screen shortly, and you will ready to take your calls, to take your contribution. This is the first show by the women for 2023. So we want to hear your ideas, your contribution on the topic of discussion this evening. We want to hear what you have to say, what you think, and what your suggestions are as we march, as we start this year of acceleration. That our freedom will be moving and faster, and it will accelerate to greater heights. And this require all of us. And just starting with the year of acceleration, and for this to be a reality, my patients, what do ordinary Amazonians need to do?
Lady Casey, that's a great way to start the show with some positiveness. And I think to answer that question, we just have to examine one word: patriotism. Patriotism. So, all of us who believe that we deserve to have a nation that is recognized as the 55th country in Africa or the 196th country in the world, all of us who believe that we as a people deserve to rule ourselves, to administer our own affairs, all of those who believe that we were wronged by the United Nations, by the British 60 something years ago, that put us in this quagmire, in this mess. All of those who are fighting for freedom, for liberty, for justice, we all have to be patriotic. And just to have everybody understand what is the meaning of patriotism, let me pull it up quickly. I thought I did, but I think it just it disappeared, because sometimes I like to go exactly to the source so that we understand what we are talking about. So patriotism definition: the quality of being patriotic, devotion to and vigorous support for one's country. Let me repeat that. Devotion to and vigorous support for one's country. And a sentence using the word patriotism: a highly decorated officer of unquestionable integrity and patriotism, is just a quote. Anyway, if we, as Ambazonia, Lady Casey ask, what can the common person do? So let's just examine what we are at different levels. That Southern Cameroonian Ambazonia who is living in the home front, who is afraid to say a word, because there are many like that. Most Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians in the home front cannot openly be patriotic, right? They cannot openly be patriotic because they'll be killed or arrested. But they can do something at their levels. They can help those who have been displaced, give them food, give them clothing, give them medical assistance. They can make sure that when the enemy is around La Republique, they inform those who are defending our territory so that they don't get caught or killed. They could be just an eye for our people. Stand guard. They can report injustice in the sense that if they see something that is wrong, see something, say something, and say something to the right people. So it's really difficult for those who are in the home front to do a lot openly, but they can find ways to support this year of acceleration so that we get to that promised land that we all seek. Those who are in ground one, the refugees, they need to be able to ask questions. What will it take for me to get home quickly? Because that is not your land. You don't have to be a refugee. Why are you a refugee? What happened in your own country that made you a refugee? Because you're running for your life. You don't want to be killed. But if you do what you can do, being a positive person, supporting one another, respecting the structures that we have structures that are LGA, county. Find a way to be part of those structures. Find a way to be part of those structures. And then if you get help, if help is sent to you to support, to help others, do the right thing. Keep your people together. But more importantly, realize that there's only one leadership. I'm speaking to those that are in ground one. There's only one leadership that will shorten this journey. We have the interim government. We have only one president, President Sako. There's a lot of confusion out there. Because I would just be bold to say that those who are causing this confusion are not patriotic. They are power mongers. Power mongers are not patriotic. So those who are on ground one, those are refugees that are being confused because they say, oh, the president used to be Ayok Tabi, so I should support him, or maybe I should listen to Yeremia, or maybe I should listen to Cho Ayaba, and all those other names that I don't want to call. You're not being patriotic because these people are not making it easy for us to get to Boya. They're causing a division that will keep you a refugee longer than you want to. And then those of us that are in the diaspora, my goodness, we have a bucket list of things that we can do. It's so many. First of all, I'll go to that statement that former President Kennedy said. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That's what you are doing, asking what you can do. And there are many things you can do as an Ambazonian in the diaspora. Starting with looking for that LGA that you come from and work at the level of your LGA. Or if there's a department that you think you can provide services to, join that department. Find out who are the leaders in the department and say, you know what, I can do X, Y, Z. Join Twitter if you can tweet. Help the refugees to help in getting finances. So when there's a fundraising, participate. Lady Casey, I can go on. I know you have a lot to add to this, so I'll just end here.
Yeah, I mean, you did an excellent job to segment Ambazonians, those on home fronts, refugees in ground one, and these refugees are in many categories: the refugees in ground one and the refugees in the rest of the world, and then those in the diaspora. I mean, that was a great way of putting it, that at your level, there are responsibilities you can take to show patriotism. One, if you're on home front, without putting yourself in any danger. I'll add to those on home front. Those on home front, to be honest, the my patients have already listed the basics you can do to provide some to support to the struggle. Just be an informant. But beyond that, other things I have realized with those on home front is the lack of co- the lack of consciousness in Ambazonians is everyone. But those are home front is because your own class, the consequences for your lack of consciousness is death. That's the reason why I am particular about those at the home front being conscious of the realities of the Amazonian struggle. You
Mhm,
cannot go about ignorantly thinking it doesn't go on a thing.
mhm,
It is your life you are putting on the line. You cannot live within um Ambazonia or as a refugee in La Republique and thinking it does not concern you. That consciousness of the realities of war, of this of conflict of this magnitude is so important that I cannot overemphasize, because when our people are home from live every day of their life with this consciousness, one, they will not be caught in crossfire. Two, they will be very careful in how they express themselves. Three, you would know where to go, what not to do. So, most of our people have come to this understanding. That's why there's hardly any reckless deaths until La Republique, barbaric attacks and killings on burning or killings of our people and burning of villages. Those have reduced, but I'll still continue to tell our people that it is not over. It is not over. Don't think because things seems normal where you are and you think it is over. It is far from over. The war is far, far, far from over. No, those people who think they want to go and campaign for peace, or the bribing and terrorizing of our people and torturing them to submission to La Republic administrative authorities, means that the war is over. It's far from it. So our people should never lose sight of that. And I also want to now extend these those to those on ground one. The conditions of our refugees is nothing to write home about, is nothing to speak about. And they should also, in these circumstances, be very aware of the realities and the causes of these realities, and not contribute to the suffering of others, especially those who have been put in any position of coordination and for the rest of the refugees. That is really important that you do it with integrity and diligently. Uh, these are some of the things where each and every Ambazonian is also responsible for something, one thing or the other, or somebody. Even as an Ambazonian, you cannot participate or promote anything against Ambazonia Freedom Quest. You cannot clamor for La Republique authority over our territory and our people. That is far from being patriotic. My patient has just brought the word that summarized everything and anything we need to say. That Patriotism should be our motivation, should be our the principles each Ambazonian function by. And we'll get to this other part, the second part of it, where we'll see how others who have said they are patriotic have caused more harm to
Mhm.
our freedom, can have almost halt our fighting spirit on ground because of their unpatriotic actions. So, on this note, those in the diaspora, and one thing I would say, if you are not contributing, if you are not participating in your LGA and county, if you are not enabling the refugees, then there's far from any patriotism in you. Uh, so there is, like my patient, there's just so much to do. And in this 2023, we want to come with a new mindset, with a renewed mindset, with a renewed energy, with a renewed focus to the goal. And that is looking at everything and taking every opportunity to accelerate our freedom quest. Mapisha, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yes, thank you, ladies. Casey. When you're speaking, I just thought that I should even just summarize this in this way for those who are in the diaspora. Um, I think sometime this month, the Ambazonia Independence Due will be launched, aid. So I really say that in the days when they had used to have CID, I used to say that the minimum, really, any Ambazonian, any patriotic Ambazonian can do is pay your CID. So now I'm saying that the minimum, once this project is launched, the minimum that you can do as somebody who is patriotic is to pay your AID, to draft when the time for drafting comes, or if you drafted and if not redeem your pledge, please do so. Uh, Financially, those are the two minimum things that you can do. And then out of that, whenever there's a need for funds, when they have special fundraising, participate, give your little token. It's better to give something small than not to give at all. So that is patriotism financially. In terms of volunteering, um, you can really find a niche where you flourish or thrive. There are many, many places to volunteer. Um, you can also be the one that spreads the news about what happens. Don't be shy or afraid. At any opportunity, be sure to tell non-Ambazonians where you live. I live in the States. I tell Americans when they ask me, having an accent. I've lived in the United States for more than 30 years. I'm one of those few people that is not getting rid of my accent. It works well for me. Sometimes at work, I speak like an American, but sometimes I change and I speak like an Amazonian. And people always come to me and say, I like your accent. And then a conversation ensues from that. And I always use that opportunity to tell them about Southern Commons, Amazonia. So please do that, because the more you educate people, you don't know who that person is that will pick up the story and do something for Ambazonia. So that is another way of being patriotic. And the list goes on and on. But those who are able to join the Horizon team so that we can keep this train going, stay in the course, and be able to join other departments and assist. I'll end there, Lady Casey.
Thank you. I mean, for the accent bit, it works for me exactly the same. Mine is even worse. I'm white and I have a very strong accent. So I always get the Ambazonia story going on and they're so perplexed and I want to know more. And yes, and I'll just add that everybody should be an Ambazonia in a Christian term, Ambazonian evangelist. everybody should be an Ambazonia evangelist. And also politically, everybody should be an Ambazonian ambassador. You are representing Ambazonia everywhere, anytime, and every time. So yes, um these are some of the patriotic things you will do, that you should not be seen as an Ambazonian um fighter or as an activist. Ambazonia should not be separated from you. The Ambazonia in you should be what you carry about everywhere, anywhere. Because some people, they talk about Ambazonia as if it's something far away. It's on that, something on that side. Like they are an Ambazonian, but Ambazonia is separate for them from them. That you want to be an Ambazonian, and Ambazonia should be one with you. And when that is it, your patriotic activities is going to flow naturally. And this is the type of consciousness. This is partly the consciousness we should all have at all times, so that if there's a question, there's an opportunity to shine the light on Ambazonians, there's opportunity to shine the light on our struggle, there's opportunity to showcase our cause. You do not miss the chance, because the Ambazonia in you is alive and living at all times. It's not when maybe something is happening. It's not when there's a special program or a special fund drive, or there is ACC 1 and 2, or there is some gathering of Ambazonians somewhere. Every single day, every life, we should live with the notion that we are at war, we are liberators for Ambazonia, we are carrying the flag for Ambazonia at every opportunity and every chance we get, because we have to keep this alive until our territory and our people is completely restored. Thank you. Mape, I think um on this note we can move to the next thing. And in few minutes time the number will be there, and we would like you to call and tell us what is that thing about you that you are so proud of being an Ambazonian. What is that special action or thing that you have done, that you do every day, that keeps Ambazonia in mind, that keeps Ambazonia alive in you. And that is the mindset, the consciousness we want to come, so that it would tame us from anti Ambazonians behaviors or actions. And on this patriotic note, I want to move into the diaspora, because a lot of activities have happened in the diaspora, especially in the past 3 to 2 years. We've had the Swiss mediation where La Republique pulled out of it, and we are having a La Republique sponsored Canadian talks, which those I'll say usual culprits are part of this La Republique sponsored talk, because they are doing things to feel important or for their own aggrandizement, and that's my personal opinion about all of those participating. Um, Now we want to move into the actors that have been in the diaspora, their actions. Some people we no longer hear them. Um, we only hear them when they're causing confusion or creating chaos. We don't hear any positive contribution they are making, or they have made to the struggle, but they are only found where there's either confusion or something to make their name or something to project themselves. uh, there's just so much that has happened in the diaspora. Now I want us to break this part first. The interim government um, efforts on diplomacy and the mediation, and what the rest of the Ambazonia actors in the diaspora are doing. Or how do you see this, and how do you think it's affecting progress in the struggle? So that's
Yeah,
two.
thank you, Lady Casey, for that question. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that we find ourselves where we are at this time. Um, and the reason really for this problem is because of power mongering. You asked a question. The interim government is the interim government. So if you have a structure that is an interim government and everybody recognizes that structure, that is the interim government, and let the interim government work for you, then things will run smoothly. The interim government fought long and hard, President Sako in particular, for us to have the Swiss-led process. And for a long time, people were bashing the process, calling it Swiss cheese and all the like. But we had people that sat together and formed Ambazonia coalition team. And you all know this, the history of this. I don't need to go back and talk about every little bit about it. But there were leaders from different movements that came together for the purpose of working as a team representing Ambazonia. That's why it was called Team Ambazonia. And then you have Team La Republique. So you have two teams. Despite all this and the disunity caused by some of these leaders that were also already in Team Ambazonia, and particularly what happened with the coup plotters, chief amongst them, Kometa and Anu, that opened the door for these other people to think that they can come up with another talk that they called Canadian talk. You know, this Canadian talk is not something that just came out of nowhere. It didn't just come out of nowhere. Dion Gute did not just say, oh, I would like the Canadians to be a facilitator to bring peace to Cameroon. This has been something that has been cooked up from the get-go. I don't know if you guys remember back. I used to be so vehemently against CDN, Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation. Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation, when they came up just around the same time after the Team Ambazonia was created. When CDM was formed, we had a show on the Horizon, and I also had a show on the then Secretary of Communications platform condemning CDN, because that was how La République started getting some of us to claim that they will be the one to bring about negotiation for the problem in Cameroon. But the irony is that that format, that composition, what they created was something to bring about peace under one Cameroon. I don't think they realize that, or maybe they did, that they could not be the ones to really have peace between the separatist Ambazonia and Cameroon. Because under their own structure, they are welcoming federalists, unionists, everybody. They put everything in the soup. And right from that CDN, they have had few meetings in Canada. And even this guy, his name is Chris Roberts. You remember when he came up with the pathway to peace in Cameroon, 10 critical observations. He's also one of the advisors, giving all these people that they can find a way to facilitate the problem. So, Lady Casey, you asked that question, and I'm bringing all this history because I really believe that CDN is behind all this. And they are thinking that they can undercut the Swiss and do something to stop the war. But remember that the spirit of the Ambazonia cannot be broken through crappy systems, through fake movements, through fake processes. Because whatever is happening in Canada or whatever has happened in Canada is not doesn't involve the party that is really affected. If
Amape, let me
yes,
just interrupt you there quickly. Hopefully, you don't lose
right,
your train of thoughts.
please.
You've worked with some of these people in Team Ambazonia before, and you see their actions now. And I saw a flyer with them going on, on other platforms to talk about whatever is happening in Canada. And you've worked up close with some of these people. When we saw all of them at one point in Akwanga, how it's like, oh, unity is here. Um, so why do you think these actors, Ambazonians, known in the diaspora, who openly undermined the Swiss process that they were part of and those who eventually joined at the end, um, why do you think they are going for a La Republique sponsored talks that is good? Do you think is to undermine the Swiss process because it was brought by the interim government? Do you think it is because they believe that is better? And if that's the case, do that still make them fighting for Amazonian freedom? I'd like to hear your view of that.
Yeah, thank you, Lady Casey. My view of that is simple. First of all, the flyer that is going around, there's only one party on that flyer that was in Timambazonia. That is Dr. Akwanga. Because,
I have
um,
eventually
I,
joined, I thought.
well, Ayaba never really joined Timambazonia. What happened after the interim government was, I use the word sacked or dismissed. Let me use a better word, dismissed from Timambazonia, the claim, which was early this year. um, Timambazonia had a meeting with Ayaba, meaning that
I
they
see.
claimed that they were having some sort of collaboration with Ayaba. He never joined the Timambazonia. And
Okay.
it's just for me amazing why you will go have a meeting with a crook, with a somebody who is in charge of all the kidnapping, a murderer. So there's no way that this interim government would party with somebody like that. I say in my sleep, in my waking moments, that anybody who is collaborating with Ayaba is on the wrong side because he is a criminal. Who are his followers? He's a criminal. So he should just be put under the bus and left there. The only person that has really been in Team Ambazonia and on that flyer is Dr. Akwanga. But when look
Okay.
at what Dr. Akwanga stands for, Africans People Liberation Movement. I really think that I don't. He from the beginning was a strong Ambazonian. I don't know for sure that I can see that Dr. Akwanga is pushing our cause as vigorously as he did years ago. I think he's been bought or he's gotten some money. I understand that they used to owe him a lot of money. Maybe they've paid him out and he's comfortable. So whether we get Ambazonia or not, it doesn't matter to him. That's my diagnosis of where he comes from. You know, whether we get to Ambazonia or not, it doesn't matter to him because he's gotten some money that they owe him for whatever reason. The other person, which for me is a non-entity, uh, John Bakuro,
Excuse me.
followers. Who is he in charge of? Who is he? Why is he even considered a leader? The only reason he's there because they make it possible. The Cameroon
Yeah.
government make it possible for him to be there because he's one of them. So these so-called Canadian talks that have all these players and many more that we've not seen, of course, the Anyangwe and all the like, it's so silly because why will you not embrace a process that has two people that are equal partners? La Republic on one side and Ambazonia on one side, sitting across from each other with somebody that is a mediator at the head of the table. So there's a mediator right here on this end of the table, and you both are sitting opposite one another, so that the mediator can mediate the problem. Why will you go on a case where you have a round table where all of you sit around the round table, whether you are a federalist or unionist or a separatist, on the round table to discuss peace in La République du Cameroon? Because that's what they are doing. You know, they want to maintain the structure of La République du Cameroon. And it built up from all the Grand National Dialogue. They had one Grand National Dialogue 1, 2, and all the conferences that Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation has had. All these people are involved, one way or the other.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
one important thing that I must say is that we have not heard any international uh, party say we endorse the Canadian talks. The Swiss talk was endorsed by the United Nations. It was endorsed by the United States of America, by Canada, by Switzerland, by Germany, by the
by
European
EU.
Union. So
Mhm.
so so I've not seen anywhere that somebody says that, oh, this Canadian talk is something that we should endorse. It's just La République du Cameroon using another area. They say, okay, let's make it look international, so let's move it to Canada, and
Yep.
use their friends to
Yep.
facilitate something that will go nowhere. The bottom line is this: if the interim government is President Sako and his team are not part of the process, you will not get any solution to the problem. That's the bottom line.
You have said something perfectly. It is just La Republic using another location for their Grand National Dialogue. It is a summary of that event. And Amazonians, I've seen people commenting, arguing on Facebook, and some people up to today still blaming President Sako for his success. You see, this is Africa is Africa is the only continent that killed their heroes. Um, Dr. Sako has no leader, I mean no one has achieved what he has done for Amazonia in his time, for for everybody in the struggle as a leader. Anybody that have posed themselves at any given time as a leader, no one has pulled water out of rock as much as he has done. And that's besides that. And all Amazonians who at this point still think that the leadership of the interim government is their problem. Why there is their problem is their excuse. Why they are not doing their patriotic duties wherever they are. Then you have you are sick. I don't find any polite way to say that you must be very sick. So so much has happened. There is enough information. And if you choose to be influenced by your tribesman, by your religion, by whatever it is, instead of the reality of the Amazonian struggles, instead of having the knowledge, the understanding, and the actual information of what is necessary to play your patriotic duty, then that is a choice you have made to make yourself an unwitting enemy agent of the Amazonian freedom quest. So Mape have just put it right. And there's some other aspect I want to bring to these people we who have also who are posing themselves with this La Republique um, national international dialogue basically. And they just put it out there. Um, you mentioned no country, no state, no institution of power endorsing it. That's because they're very disappointed in our public. But now, this is the part I want Amazonians to focus on. This is our responsibility to now um, reactivate firepower on ground. They are
Absolutely.
only gaining grounds and making noise and even have the time to sit there and talk because the Republic somehow think they have used their agents and implanted agents to destroy and distract the interim government, and we know the story of the Coopers. There they are using the rest of them to have whatever dialogue they want to have, to continue creating that distraction, giving our people the excuse to think that there is no hope, that La Republic is fully in control. I was talking about being conscious of the fact that we are at war, and the war is not over, and nothing is over. If everything seems normal to you, we are just starting. We are just getting started. We have not even near anything yet. And so Amazonians should come to this mindset that all these things happening, and all these actors involved, me, I'm very positive for Ambazonia. I would like to think maybe they even have some, something, some substance out of this that will benefit the people of Amazonia or benefit our freedom cause. But knowing the characters that are involved and what we have seen, um, it's obvious that they are doing that for their own political placements and self-aggrandizements. And like many of them that they have tried before, since the creation of the interim government, all these actors have been involved in destroying the interim government. All these actors currently the Canadian, the La République Canadian discussion, all of them has been trying to bring down the influence and the effectiveness and processes and works of the interim government. Amazonians, you should ask yourself why. Before you people keep pointing finger at the wrong person, before you keep pointing fingers at someone who have stood the ground and stood the test of time. I mean, the challenges that have come from within Ambazonia to the interim government is nowhere near what La Republique have challenged us. And it is time for all Amazonians to know that President Sako is not going to be there forever to be rescuing your revolution. So it's time for all of us to now be very responsible and play our parts. He's not forever going to be there. Every time you people will destroy the struggle, he would still gather momentum and keep things alive. And I mentioned last time I was here that we saw how the firepower on ground has been since the coup plotters told us that they can do better. We have not heard even what's that thing called, catapult, being shot. We've not seen any whatsoever. So Amazonia, it's time for you to now find yourself back where you should be, and that's joining your LGA and county, strengthening from the root, so that we can reorganize and continue to protect our territory and defend our land and our people. So, my patients, on this note, we want to continue. Why do you think that this Canadian talk is in no way compared to the Swiss? You've mentioned the fact that it's not internationally backed or endorsed. You've also mentioned the fact that it's more of a rest of a round table. But is there anything else you think that these talks that are going on, this La Republic discussion, as I call it, with some individuals going on with those posing as Ambazonians? How do you think this is Norway compared to the Swiss talk, and how do you think it's not, because you've mentioned that is not for our freedom, because it's for one Cameroon, and why do you say that, so our people can understand?
Yeah. To address that, let me just take you back to the difference between facilitation and mediation, so people understand exactly. I'm sure we know, but sometimes to remind people brings things, it makes things make more sense. Um, what is the difference between facilitation and mediation? Mediation involves a neutral third party who assists parties in resolving a dispute, or at least narrowing the issues in a manner that is acceptable to both sides. Facilitation involves a neutral third party providing guidance to design and manage a group communication process to resolve problems or address issues. So the Swiss-led process was supposed to be mediated by Switzerland. That's why it's called Swiss-led process. And what was supposed to happen was that La République would be on one side of the table, and opposite La République would be. And let me even refer to Resolution 684, the United Nations S Resolution 684 that came out January 2021. In that resolution, they also state that they would want the separatists, because that's what they call us, the armed separatists, and the government of La Republic to sit down and talk. So, putting these two together and having something like that happen, you get to the root cause of the problem. What is causing this problem? Because if you have a genuine dialogue, genuine conversation, you find out what is the root cause. Why is there a war in Southern Cameroon? Why are people being killed? And La Republique people are not being killed. We know up to date about 40,000 to 50,000 have been killed. We know that the refugees, all the refugees that are in, most of the refugees are Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians. You don't see people from La Republique being refugee, right? Because they didn't burn their homes, they didn't, destroy their property or kill their family members. So what caused that problem? What is the root cause? We've been together for 60 years plus. Why now that problem? What has happened that it has become such a problem that some people are being killed? Because BI didn't start kill Bamileke people or Bassa people. They're killing only Southern Cameroonians. So if you go to the root cause, which is what a mediation will provide, or that's the bottom, that's a goal for mediation, to find the root cause of a problem, then you can come out of there stronger. But if you have a facilitated process, what are they trying to facilitate? They're trying to facilitate a peace process, how to bring peace in La Republique, what to do. Is it reconstruction? Is it decentralization? All those things that have nothing to do with the root cause of the problem, which is that we were supposed to have our own country. So I say all of this to make people understand that the Swiss talk would have been something that people started crying after the fact. Oh, La Republique has left the Swiss talk. Even those who were against it from the beginning started crying. I don't know whether they were pretending. And now, this, what they have, Canadian talk, they are realizing that it's not something that is good for them. So the problem now is to realize that we cannot continue with the Canadian talk. We cannot continue with the Canadian talk. Lady Casey, over to you, please.
Hear me? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks. So, Amazonians, we are having this
Sorry, I had some
discussion.
distraction. I think that somebody is trying to get into my house, so it distracted me for a moment. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that I we are having this conversation so Amazonians know, so we are prioritizing our struggle, so we understand that things doesn't just happen for no reason. We don't see events within the revolution, we don't see events for, or we don't see anybody making comments about the struggle for no reason. We need to um critically think, analyze, and understand the intent, the purpose, who, why, who, and every ask questions, understand also why it, how it would affect our cause. That's the main thing. Because when I look at any comments or any um write up, say, given out by the US, and you want to understand what does that mean for our struggle. If you look at comments made in British Parliament about our struggle, when the MPs have conversation about it, you don't just want to just listen like, oh, they are talking about our struggle. What is their motivation? What is the significance of that conversation, of that statement, of that comment, of that event to the revolution? And this is how we want to be relating to information this 2023. We're not just going to be catching um getting emotionally moved by every event and every action, every comment by anybody who posed as whoever and so and whatever. So it is time for us. I think we should have grown to a certain level where we now take information and properly analyze it and think about it and understand what is the intent, what is this person trying to achieve. We want to believe that people who have maybe done things against the revolution in the past, people whose action has caused us more pain, more distraction, and more and and more destruction in the struggle, might change. We want to believe that some people have realized that they were going the wrong way. We want to have all this mindset. We want to trust that everybody who say they are Ambazonians, they are working for Ambazonia and acting for Ambazonia, have good intention. But at the same time, we cannot lose sight of the fact that um, when someone have consistently refuse refuse to see the impact of their action against our struggle, we cannot ignore it. So these conversations are necessary, and I would suggest and like that the technician puts the telephone number on the screen so our viewers can call in and contribute and participate. So this is the first show of the year. We want to do kind of what we are doing is understand the current state of the struggle and the mindset we need to carry going forward. We know we've come a long way. We've come too far to just come too far. We have to get to the end. And the women are staying the course. And staying the course means we will evolve, we would learn, we will improve, we will accommodate as we move forward. And we're not going to be acting foolishly this year as some have been. It's not every Ambazonians look at those someone wrote something on Facebook that and where are all the activists who stood against the interim government? What are they
Yeah.
doing now for the struggle? That question hit home to me. Like, where are all the activists who were having fierce campaign? How long did they last? Fierce campaign against the interim government, who have been the pillar and light of the struggle. What are they up to now? What have they done? You guys know them. What are they doing? I don't call anybody's name here. You know all of them. Even the coup plotters just yesterday that made so much noise.
Yeah.
I always use them because they are very fresh. They are the reasons why since the coup plotters started their distraction, Amazonians, you are not holding those you should be holding accountable.
Right.
Since the coup plotters created their distraction, have you guys heard anything on ground? We were having a ball. The ground was hot. Home front was boiling. And the coup plotters came with their distraction, their sponsored distraction, their wickedness and evil against our struggle and our people. That's what the people, you people should be holding accountable. Those are the people you should be asking questions. What have they done to prove that they are better leaders, they are better organizers, they are better fundraisers than our president, President Samuel Sako Ikome? Because that's what I always go to. I am interested in who is giving results. What are their results? What's the outcome? We are don't we've passed time for stories. And if anyone's action is not producing a positive result for Ambazonia, then why are we entertaining it? Are we entertaining it because we also don't believe in the freedom? Or we also don't believe in the Ambazonia? Because that's what it tells me about people who are entertaining this level of distraction from the Canadian whatever participators and the distraction from couploters. Because there's absolutely no way you're a patriotic Amazonian and you are involved, following, participating, supporting these things that these people are doing. So, Mafe, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to add to this regard, and before we now move to this final part where we talk about, this is more or less have been warming up. We've talked about patriotism, we've talked about some distractions and some actors in the diaspora, how they destroy a major mediation, creates a false impression of Ambazonia disunity to the international community, who allow La Republique to feel like they can with the to feel like they have the right to withdraw, which they eventually withdraw, because Amazonians, we need to start connecting the dots, and the real ones, the real destroyers of our struggle, with the people we need to start holding accountable. And also, um we've touched around all these things around, and now when we are going to talk towards unity of purpose. I just like the way you keep it, unity of purpose. And we've talked a lot about the purpose, our liberation, our freedom, what we can do, what we cannot do. Is there anything else you want to add on this talks and mediation part before we move into what I'll say one of the key things? Because we need ourselves, we need everybody to be on board for progress. Thank you.
Yes, I'll just make one quick statement and then we can move to the next topic, because it's almost as if we're going around full circle. We started with patriotism, then we ending with this unity of purpose or unity for purpose, whatever we want to say it. But the one thing is that those who are considered uh, patriotic Ambazonians, look at those you think are leaders. If you're thinking that John Ba Akuro is a leader, look exactly at his or his actions. If you're thinking that Akwanga is a leader, look at his actions. I think this patriotism should be where people can examine those they consider leaders and see exactly what those leaders are doing. In the United States of America, if you have leaders, you have mayors, you have representatives, and they don't function, they get removed the next time there's an election. We don't have that beauty of having an election at this moment, because we are in a liberation quest, a struggle. So those who you considered leaders, are they really representing your interests? With that said, the only way to really make this hone on what would be best for Southern Cameroonians, for Ambazonians, is to just be in the structure that has been created from the beginning. You know, the LGA, the county, defending your county LGA by LGA, supporting the interests of the federal government. And I think if we do that, all will work out well. I would say that those who are not really leaders, just let go of them. You know, a leader without followers is not a leader. So these people will be just speaking for themselves. I'm talking about the Akwangas, the Ayabas, the Boherberts, the John Bakuro. They'll be speaking for themselves because they are not your leaders. So I think with that, we can go ahead and talk about this unity for what purpose, or unity of purpose, whatever way you want to put it, because we know that the purpose is to be recognized as the 55th nation in Ambazonia. I mean, in the world, in Africa, pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we are going full circle, and it is really important at the start into the new year for us to to look at things from all these dimensions, and to understand that this word unity, collaboration have been thrown around way too much. And I've personally have seen people use unity as an excuse to not contribute. Some people use unity as an excuse to not perform their patriotic duties as an Ambazonian, as a Southern Cameroonian. A lot, I mean, many people have used unity, the word unity and collaboration as a reason to be nonchalant about the freedom quest. So this word that has been thrown so much around, for me, I really want us to take time to look at this unity, and from an Amazonian perspective that is not related to any other circumstances, because one of the things we have done a lot in this struggle is to compare, oh, the apartheid leaders were this, oh, the Christopher Columbus, or this one was that, oh, this person was. We have compared our struggle to the, like some people even try to do a Biafra collaboration. We are fighting on this on different wavelength, and these things that we have failed to understand has cost us more than we are willing to admit in this struggle. And the interim government has always come to the rescue to rescue these Amazonians from this, I would say, whether it's deliberate ignorance or they're just using these anti-unity behaviors as a reason to cover up their failures. Because that's another reason I think some people have used the word unity or collaboration to hide their inability to make substantial contribution, substantial impact in the struggle. And who everyone likes unity. Who doesn't like unity? So, Mape, before I get to you, I'd just like to say some more things about unity and what I think. We Amazonians, we like the idea to be united. Those that have consciously and continuously create this unity, that has given, you know, some of the white men or the powers that be excuse to say that, oh, Amazonia is because Amazonia is not united, they cannot do this. Amazonia is because Amazonians are not united, they cannot do that. That's why this is not just term unity, it's unity of purpose. It's not just unity or collaboration. With what? For what? Collaborate
Mhm.
on what? Unite on what? About what? So we want to be very specific in this our different dimension of unity. And now we're all just talking about the Team Act, which was a collaborative platform for a particular purpose, for
Mhm.
mediation with La Republique as Amazonians. And now, in that aspect of unity, I think we have spoken quite a bit on that aspect of mediation and negotiation in Ambazonia. Now, I want us to talk about um, unity, how others have been claiming they are creating unity platform, excluding the interim government. Um, my patience, that's the angle I want us to go. We know that an interim government have
Mhm.
a structure that fits every Amazonian is from an LGA, so there
Mhm.
is no excuse not to be part of it. So these other unity platforms that they have been throwing around, before I get into diagnose what I think of it, um, that they are creating unity platform without the interim government. Um, Despite every effort that the leadership of the interim government has made to bring Amazonians together. We know the Washington is a conference program that the interim government sponsored fully to bring all the leaders together, past, present, and future
Mhm.
ones. They were present at the Washington. We know that
Yeah.
effort. We know the interim government has invited every leader to all the ACC um, programs. So ASCC, we know the interim government has invited all the leaders, and we know they hardly respect it. We know the efforts the interim government made to ensure, because the Swiss mediation also was brought to the interim government. The interim government called the rest of the other leaders to create, to see, because the interim government saw it, the leadership saw this as an opportunity for Ambazonians to collaborate for a purpose. Now, these are some of the things and that the interim government leadership have done to see that they bring Amazonians together. Now, we'll take it from this point. Is there anything else the interim government have tried to bring Amazonians together, and why do you think that has failed? And why the same people that have not have refused to unite with the interim government are creating other unity platforms with anti-Ambazonia activities or anti-revolutionary activities? Why do you think this is going on?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, let me just even give some sort of timeline of all the
Mm-hmm.
things that you've already mentioned. Just quick, briefly. The
Yeah.
President Sako took over in 2018, right after Sissoko
Mm-hmm.
was adopted. Well, not right after, maybe 3 months after he was abducted, and the Nera 10. And as Johnny just come, as I call him, he did quite a lot to try to bring this team together. And I think the first major collaborative or unity type of platform that he created was the ARC. That was sometime in summer 2018, around that time. I may be wrong with my timeline, but it was 2018. And then right after that, this what was it called? APNC. The APNC thing came about because they were trying to undermine him. So he's trying to put people together, and they're already trying to cause disunity the same year,
Mm-hmm.
Lady Casey, because APNC was really all about getting rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
So that has always bothered me, because this guy had just come in. They are not really even giving him the opportunity to do a lot, although he had done quite a bit to bring money into the struggle. So after AC, he also had some sort of try to do some sort of collaboration with Fontainebleau of all people. SCLC was created, and I remember uh, after Sissoko created his new government and decided to uh, decided to dismiss Sako as the president, Fontainebleau said, "Okay, you will be removed from SCLC." Where is LCLC today? Nowhere. So after that, you went to 2019. We had the first ASSC one in Berlin, and that also was a platform to bring all Ambazonians together, because it was just open to everybody. If you really believe, if you're patriotic that you really need this country called Ambazonia, then you should have found a way to go there or support it. And then just this last year, April, or was in March, we had ASSC 2. So you've already listed all the things that he has done to make sure that we are together, working in the structures, working through your LGAs, through your counties. He has done. But all these other people that are there, the when I looked at another way of describing the meaning of unity, I said, what is the true meaning of unity? The quality or state of not being multiple, right? So you've had people that have come out and have multiple IGs. I don't want to even say that loud, because that's what they claim. You had Marianta came out after Chris Ano. Marianta came out, then Chris Ano came out. So these are all people creating disunity. So, but it's simple. If the purpose is that we want to be recognized as the 55th nation in Africa, or the 196th country in the world, why cause all this disunity? Why are all these people causing all this problem? Because they are not really patriotic. They are not real Ambazonians. They don't really want what you and I want, Lady Casey. They want something else, And some people will argue that you cannot unify people that want something else, right? That's simple truth. So if they want something else and we know what we want, there's nothing we can do, till they decide that, okay, I want the same thing that Lady Casey wants. I want the same thing that my patient wants. I want the same thing that President Sako wants, and then join us. As long as they want something else, that's their.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll also want to add to this to let our people understand that these are information that are out there for you, and these have happened in front of us. They have created so many different unity platform. Why has none of them done better than the interim government? That question is left for you to answer. Um, the act, APNC, scoop. I mean, we can go on and on about the different things that have been created only to undermine, to attack, to prove. But we are still, excuse me, we are still yet to see any real substance towards Ambazonia freedom. So we are now this 2020, no story, nobody's telling us story. Bring us proof, bring us evidence,
Mhm,
tell us that you
mhm,
have taken over even your village. You are now your village is totally under your control. Come and tell us that now you have um restoration fighters, all of them well armed with you know with all the sticks and granotes in that they required. We need solution. None of these other groups or associations or whatever against the interim government has anything else to tell us if that purpose is not to show us substance of what they are doing. And now let me bring this other part to the unity. We have pleaded with all these other Ambazonian so-called leaders for collaboration, which is not even as close as unity. Let's collaborate for Amazonian freedom. Let those who have created mushroom groups respect the efforts of the other one. But all they have
mhm.
done, all they have always gathered to do is to destroy the gains of the interim government. All their actions and inaction has been to undermine the leadership of the interim government. And this is why I keep saying, from all the things, the groups and my patients have mentioned that were created for unity, and some of them were united against the interim government, like the ARC. The ARC was created against the interim government. Um, the APNC was to destroy the interim government. SCLC was a disguised La Republic sponsored, you know, unity platform. Now, all this the interim government have, with their good mind and the good faith, have generously and willingly always participate to ensure that Ambazonians come together for the common purpose to liberate our land, to ensure that we are liberated to the fact, to the point where nobody in the world can refuse, can deny that we are a people with our nation, our flag, and our identity. So now that we are here, Ambazonians should ask yourselves, one, they are because they always use unity when they have failed. We know the outcome what the coup plotters have done, because we know they have failed woefully and they started preaching unity. We know these other people in Canada preaching unity, that they are united for Ambazonia. And some of you are buying into it because they are having some meeting with a white man. And that's another mindset we need to get rid of this 2022,
23.
2023. Because if we are talking about unity, and if they are complaining that the interim government is their problem, why when they come together they don't do better than the interim government?
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line of all these unity talks, because I see this unity talk as a total distraction
Mhm.
and a total setting Ambazonians against themselves for no reason. And that's why you have to first of all reflect on the purpose. And we had to start this show with patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're patriotic Ambazonia and you understand the current state of our revolution, you will know that no one will bring story of unity for you to start pointing finger at the interim government that have sustained this war, whether they like it, they all know it till present.
Yeah.
And it's currently the only hope of the people. If you like, join them to destroy it. But you people will not hear this anywhere else except for ABC Amber TV. The interim government is doing everything within its capacity to keep the struggle alive. And we cannot allow people throw words like unity and collaboration around with no substance to back it up.
Right.
All of them have gathered. Seseko and Ayaba gathered in UK. They could not raise more than £600. That same it was 1 month after President Sako raised £24,000 in UK for a 2 weeks planned visit. A program that was announced 2 weeks. Now, if we are now trying to destroy this grace and this leadership that have brought the people together and sustained the struggle, because some of you, I don't know what reasons, but there are many reasons I think this is happening. Maybe this person is not your tribe, you don't even like, or whoever is on ABC, you don't like. We should now keep all those sentiments aside. It is very irrelevant as a people. We need to now focus on the purpose. And that's why we are emphasizing on the unity for purpose, unity on the purpose, and the purpose is to liberate our territory. And when you think about unity on purpose, it brings about, when you have patriotism in you and you think about the unity of purpose, you will take the appropriate action, and you will have the right attitude and the right mindset for us to continue prosecuting this war until we are totally liberated. And people should not, the so-called leaders should not just come in and talk to you about, oh, we want to be united, but it's this person.
Mm-hmm.
What has their action been so far as far as collaboration and unity is concerned? People have shown you severally that they are fighting for themselves. They are trying to
Mm-hmm.
make a name for their family and for themselves. They are trying to position themselves in the place of power and influence. So that's all their interest, all their action. Like you mentioned, um Dr. Akwanga used to be so passionate about the struggle. When he started talking about AK-47, when he started motivating the people to understand that this war is deep, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
It now changed from Southern Cameroon Defense Front to Africa Liberation, the
People's.
People Liberation Movement.
Yeah.
That's an attitude for surrender as far as
Exactly.
elaboration Amazonian struggle is concerned. So, Mape, I'll just let you, if you may want to add something on this thing, because we have talked so much, and would be looking to wrap up in few minutes.
Okay. Yes. When you were talking, it just occurred to me that one phrase that has been used a lot, not even a phrase, two words that have been used a lot since this disunity came about from the coup plotters, was the two words, unity warriors. Unity warriors. Let's think about what has happened. The unity warriors has caused more death to our sons and daughters than anything else. So that has shown us that the people who have been pushing and preaching unity do not really mean what they are saying, because it's that facade that makes people think that, oh, they are together. Meanwhile, they are destroying us one by one. La Republic uses this so, they're doing this so intelligently, divide and conquer rule. They put only our own people to pit against us, and that's exactly what is happening. And Lady Casey, I really enjoy what you said, that all those people that are against President Sako, if the purpose was real, if the purpose was really to free us, why haven't we seen anything from them? Even though there are so many of them, so many of them consider themselves leaders. How come their actions together have not been so powerful to make President Sako's own actions so mediocre, something that you cannot even put a finger on or recognize? The answer is simple: because they are powerless. They are all there to get name recognition with nothing to show for. And La Republic is using some of them to make sure that we stay, fight against ourselves instead of focusing on the real enemy that there is. And I think this is a core. And if we are starting this year as patriotic Ambazonians, if you are there listening to me, that you are related to one of these so-called leaders, and you really want this year of acceleration to really be the year of acceleration, reach out to them and tell them to just leave the struggle, to be quiet, to not cause all the dissension and confusion that they are causing, so that we can get home quicker, because they are really the blocks. They are the blocks on our way. I think if we just focus on this notion that we are an interim government, and knowing that an interim government, because if President Sako leaves today, somebody else will take his place in the same structure that we have. Those people are just leaders. If there's no Akwanga tomorrow, it doesn't matter, because there's nothing that he represents. If there's no Boheba tomorrow, it doesn't matter, because there's nothing he represents. There are no people behind him. But we have a structure that we have people that would take over. If I leave today as a Secretary of State for the Women of Department, Women's Services, somebody else will take my place, because we have a structure. If Dr. Tita is no longer the Secretary of State for Health and Human Services, I'm just giving this as an example, somebody else will take his place. We have structures in place, and that's the beauty of us pursuing this together. And no other thing will work. This will work, and this is working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've not failed to mention how the interim government have sustained and given life to this revolution. I'll keep saying that over and over until we get it. Because when I still see people, I mean, there was a post on Facebook. I think it was Don Dinga that made it, or Kemi Ashu, one of this our great consistent Amazonian who have been on the media. The spirit of Amazonia is, I mean, if you're short of Amazonia inspiration, Kemi Ashuwo is for you. She's just an extraordinary comrade sister. So I keep saying this because these people have come together several times against the interim government, several times to unite. And why have they not given us a better structure, a better leader, a better day-to-day operating system that serves the revolution? Why? That's what we should be asking ourselves. Why are they everyone still against the interim government, yet nobody is doing anything better than what the interim government is doing? Why is anybody blaming, complaining, accusing, pointing finger, trying to destroy, trying to drag down, undermine, and everything, make jealous, envy, and wickedness out on top of it against the interim government, but yet no one is doing anything better? That's what every patriotic Amazonian should ask themselves. All these years we have seen, I mean, I don't even, what the ADF, we have spoken about the ADF here several times, what they have been doing, or all the rest of them have come together under different names, under different circumstances. Why are they not doing better? If the interim government was their problem, if all of them have gathered, what is the reason? What is stopping them? I said last time here that as I am an Ambazonia, the interim government cannot stop me for doing what I want to do for Ambazonia as an individual, as a patriotic Ambazonia. The interim government cannot is not hindering me from doing my patriotic duties. So why these other ones who have outrightly said the interim government is their problem, not coming together to do? If they don't know, there's so much to do for this revolution with or without the interim government. So, but why have they not been able to achieve anything? And I mean anything. There's nothing. We cannot talk of anything diplomatically. We cannot even talk of taking care of the refugees. We cannot even talk of basic simple things as providing for the wounded within our territory. Nothing have they done. And we still here confused. So this is not a time for us to be using disunity as an excuse to not perform our patriotic duties. This is not a time to be using all these anti-revolutionary leaders as an excuse to not contribute to the interim government. This is not a time to be using your feelings about an individual within the interim government to not contribute to foster our revolution. This is a year for patriotic Amazonians to do all that is it takes and that is necessary to accelerate our freedom course. And you're here listening to us on ABC, and we will sing this every day, every time. That is a year for us to have the Ambazonian consciousness, to live the Ambazonian spirit every day and everywhere. Mapping as we prepare to round up, we've been here for about almost an hour and a half, and as we prepare to round up the conversation for today, would certainly be here again in the near future for us to really to talk to our people, for us to have these conversations. What would you like to say to round up all these our um, three aspects of the day that are really connected, and as we move into 2023?
Yeah, thank you, Lady Casey. Before I make, well, let me do that first, answer what you said. And then I want to just also end by just reading something from the Department of Women's Services about the Be an Angel fundraising that we just did at the end of last year. So we've spoken about patriotism, and we've talked about the Swiss versus the Canadian process, and also what this what unifying for a purpose really means. And when you put everything together, the one thing that we should take out of this message today is that all patriotic Ambazonians, to achieve this a year of acceleration where we want to be recognized as the 55th nation of the world, would be to disown those leaders that are anti-revolutionary leaders that are confusing you, and focus on the structures that is there, where you will be financially responsible for your aid, Ambazonia Independence Due, your drafting, and also volunteer to put in what you have to offer as an individual. With that said, let me just read this about the Be an Angel fundraising that we have. The Department of Women's Service of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Be an Angel Christmas Fund Drive, started on September 25th, 2022, and ended on November 30th, 2022, We are thankful to all who contributed towards the drive and will share with you, beginning today and the next few days, the outcome of the fundraiser. We received a total of about $9,000. Specifically, this money was distributed accordingly. Refugees in Nigeria, we send them 3,043, well, $3,000. $43 was the cost of sending the money, so $3,000. Refugees in Ghana, that is still to be issued, will be $500. We have $15 for the cost of sending it. IDPs in Yaoundé received $1,750. IDPs in Boya, $450. An IDP in Bamenda, $150. Wounded warriors, $350. War widows, $1,000 reserved for them. 775 has been issued, and 225 is still to be issued. Prisoners of war in Yaoundé, in Kundegi, $1,125. Prisoners of war in Bamenda, $750. And the total was $9,133. Although we did not reach our goal of $10,000, we are thankful to all the women who worked hard to raise the funds and all the donors who supported them. We know that this outreach touched only a small number of our people, of our embattled people. We will do our best and continue to assist our people as we stay the course till we reclaim our land. Thank you so much. So this 2023, the Department of Women's Services still will be reaching out to you donors to help us assist our people. And let's pray that we get to Boya sooner than later so that all this exercise will come to an end and we'll focus on building a new nation. Thank you, Lady Casey.
Wow, thank you. And I'll join you to thank all the women who participated in seeing this come to pass and making this a reality. And this is some of the things that patriotic Amazonians are doing, and those who have our mind and conscience for our people. You don't have to join us to support the ARF. You can also join the women's services and chip in something for our suffering people and the people in the refugee and our IDPs. There's just, like I always say, there's just too much to do for humanity and for Ambazonians in particular. So there is no time and there's no excuse to be idle, to be lackluster and careless about the realities of our people and what is going on. And thank you everyone for watching us today. And I don't know, Mape, if you have finally done for today, while we round up. Is there anything else to add while we close?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. And again, Happy New Year. And let's make sure that 2023 is a better year. And let's also pray that the Almighty God takes us home to Ambazonia in 2023. And thank you, Lady Casey, for hosting me today.
Oh, thank you for having me this time, and I hope your regular host returns soon. And thank all our viewers for watching all the various platforms, and those who will be watching us later on the websites and on the rebroadcast. Thank you all for watching. I would like to hear your comments and messages, and we see them. And also, we want to thank our technician for getting us on today in time. And the Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonia women is here, and you can also hear what they are doing. You can hear the work they are doing to
What's
reach out to
happening?
our people. And beside us coming here to
And that's
talk
what?
to you, besides us just having conversations about different aspects of our struggle, the women are
What do you want me
hands
to announce?
on. You know, the women are hands on, and they are
I can hear you.
doing all that they could to
Okay. All right, let me look. Hold on.
okay.
Lady Casey, is there an announcement to make before we forget?
I'm not sure. Is there some announcements if I've missed? You can check. So yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. There's a brief
Yes.
announcement right there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I will just go on. Like I was just saying, I want to thank all of those that have participated are watching us, and the women's services and the women department, they are doing what mothers do, taking care and of our people and doing everything. So you can always support um the women through Ambazonia Foundation. You do all your bits, just make any donations or contribution and mention for women's services, because they are going out and going over and beyond to take care of our people, to support as many people as possibly can. So, and we are not just here just to talk. The women are not here to come on women program every Friday just to talk to you about the different hurdles and challenges and inspiration and ideas and current events of the struggle. They are also hands on to see that the things are moving. Our people are also not abandoned in the course of this crisis, in the course of this war. So, it's like, and before we go, there's one announcement I'd like to make. Tomorrow 5 p.m. Amber time, tune into ABC TV to get defense briefing. The interim government defense team will be updating Ambazonians tomorrow 5 p.m. Amber time on the our RLF and activities at home front. And this is also to inspire you that there's hope for Ambazonia, like I was saying earlier, that if you think it is getting back to normal, then you're mistaken. So it's important to live with this consciousness. So tomorrow, tune in and get the information, the guidance, the security, the info, and the updates of what is going on in the defense department, or the defense aspects, the self-defense aspects of our revolution. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you, Mape, for always articulating and giving us the actual definition of things so that we understand and learn and, evolve and improve our minds and thoughts, so we can be better Ambazonians, we can be better people to better participate in all aspects of our freedom quest. Thank you all for joining, and see you next week. Take care.
You are watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman, exclusively on ABC Amber TV.